Welcome. Hi there. My name is Ed Frank, and I'm the CEO of Access Innovation, joining you live from Tel Aviv, Israel. It's great to be here. We have a very exciting program today, and I'm glad you can join us today. Today's event, DICE, the Digital In-Car Experience, is the result of many years of work that we've done for some of the leading OEMs and car manufacturers, and we really understood how important this is to the future of drivers. Today's event is sponsored by our good friend Jeremy Lussman, partner and head of global practice in Israel at DLA Piper, one of the world's largest law firms, Ryan Mahoney, the mobility portfolio manager at IBEX Investors, a US fund, and Mike Rosen, partner and IP manager at Cobra Kim, an international IP law firm. I want to give you a little bit of background today on Access Innovation and the value that we bring to both corporations and startups. We've done projects for some of the world's largest corporations, including Visa, Kimberly-Clark, Ford, and Kaspersky. And we've also, when the time allowed us, we organized conferences in more than 20 countries around the globe. And we've hosted more than 1,500 corporation and investors who are all looking for leading technology startups. And that has led to our advisory work, which has brought more than 25 investment deals to the startups that we work with. What's proprietary about the work that we do at Access is really these events and these connections with corporations have led us to see more than 1,000 startups each year. And we've screened these startups and helped find the ones that are most interesting. And this funnel has actually generated 25 startups a year that we feel are very exciting that have actually gone on to raise significant funding. Out of the startups that presented at our conferences, more than $900 million have been raised by these startups. We weren't expecting COVID to hit any more than you were, and it's impacted our business. All of our events that we've done have been from the comfort of my basement or this chair. But what we've done over these past 9 months is move to virtual engagement. Corporations and startups still want to meet each other. Over these 9 months, we've actually organized over 20 events online, and those events have helped us expand our reach. Our database has over 40,000 startups, investors, and corporations, and we've had more than 5,000 people participate in the events that we've organized. We've organized webinars, we've had events such as these, we've done city tours all across Europe, and we've also brought Israeli companies on a roadshow virtually to Russia. Right now, we are here to also talk about the engagement that we do with startups and how we can make corporations and startups engage more effectively. Over the years, the work that we've done with these corporations has led to our methodology, and we've brought it down to 6 steps. We sit with our clients, we understand the strategy, then we use that to define a scouting strategy and how we're going to work. And each one of our clients have very different requirements, different timetables, and different budgets. But we spend a lot of time preparing the startups, understanding their needs, and in today's event, we also have met all the startups a number of times, understand what they're doing, and work with them to help them be the most effective. We've also created our own virtual platform, which I'll explain in a minute, because we found that to be effective and to come up with value, both for the startups and the corporations, we needed something that was unique to us. And of course, the follow-up. It's nice to attend an event, but really we want to make sure something happens. Our most recent project was with Ford. We've had the pleasure of working with Ford over the past 6 years, and we've created with them the Make It Drivable campaign. We started to work with them in Israel. We moved to many countries across Europe, and we've actually done events for them in more than 12 countries across Europe. But this year was a particularly challenging year when we moved everything over to virtual. We recently finished this project. We met hundreds of startups, and we ended up creating what we call the Access Spin platform. We had more than 30 startups participating from 18 countries. On the Ford side, we had participants from 8 locations around the world, and we created a very unique program that included master classes, investors, other corporations, consumer and commercial focus groups, and over 100 meetings between the Ford mentors. And As you can see, both the corporate and the startups felt that this was extremely valuable and brought people together, and many of these co-creations are continuing. So the work that we're doing is trying to create custom programs for corporations. And as well, we're continuing our events in the coming months. Next month, we'll be hosting an event for the telco industry, and we see many similarities between the digital in-car experience and the telecommunications industry. In January, we're partnering with our partners in Las Vegas for the Mobility Pioneer event in transportation innovation, and our flagship event, Access Tel Aviv, with investors and startups from all over the world, will be held in March. Today's event is the result of the research that we've done, and really what we found and what the consulting firm Kearney has also confirmed, that the customer experience is a key brand differentiator in the mobility sector. And that's something that you can see today with some of these innovative startups. And all these startups and these corporations are trying to understand how to monetize their services. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce my colleague, Jason Weiss, COO and Deal Flow Manager at Axis, who is our resident in-house expert on the digital in-car experience. Thank you for joining us, and looking forward to having a very pleasant afternoon. Jason.
Okay, thank you, Ed. Thank you, everyone. It's great to be here with you all and share the next couple hours. We have an amazing agenda planned. Let me get my presentation up. I've been working in the in-car experience, really fascinated by this area for many years. And as we all know, the automotive industry is going through a massive period of disruption. McKinsey estimates that by 2030, 50% of global automotive revenues will be in disrupted areas. And this is driven by three main forces. The first is autonomous and electric vehicles. And this is really answering the question of how. How are we going to get around? What's under the engine? What's under the hood? How are we going to get from point A to point B? The second major change is the mobility needs and preferences, both of consumers and of business. The question is why? Why do I necessarily need to own a car? There's so many new types of mobility, and there's so many new types of ride sharing, for example, that the needs and preferences of people are changing like we've never seen. And the third main force is the connected and digital revolution, which is what we're really here to talk about today. And this is answering the question of what. What do we do when we're in the car? And what are we going to be doing in the car in the next 5, 10, 15 years as the cars are becoming fully autonomous? What are the experiences, the technologies, the services, and the opportunities available to us thanks to connectivity and digitalization? And if we look on the supply side, something I think everyone knows, cars are becoming fully connected. In the next years, nearly 100% of new cars will be connected, providing that infrastructure for data and all these new services. But on the same time, the demand from consumers is growing. Consumers expect the car to be an extension of their digital life. So consumer demand is growing, the supply connected vehicle penetration is growing. Combine this with advancements in all types of technology, AI, computer vision, sensors, and much, much more. And we've created new massive market opportunities. Many of you are probably familiar with the stat from McKinsey that nearly $500 billion will be the market size of car data monetization by 2030. Many other industries are being created. If we look at driver monitoring system or automotive health, industries that didn't exist several years ago are growing at double-digit annual growth rates. We also have, of course, the infotainment system market, which is also growing to reach $21 billion. So, of course, the OEMs are taking notice and setting very ambitious digital goals. For example, both Audi and Mercedes-Benz set a target for 1 billion euros in revenue from digital services, and many other OEMs are following suit. But the question remains, how are OEMs, who have traditionally been very hard to adopt digital practices, going to create all this value? How are tier ones, tech players, going to capture market share, create new opportunities, open up revenue streams, and maintain leadership position in the new mobility world? Well, one of the answers, and the answer we're here to talk about today, is through collaboration together with startups. And that is really what this event is about. We created DICE because we see that there is a huge opportunity bringing together startups with disruptive technology, connectivity services with automotive OEMs and tier ones. Our events are very unique for many ways. Ed mentioned how many events that we have done in the past and even virtual. We focus first and foremost on quality and having a limited number of attendees. All of you are here. We believe we have an unbelievable lineup, and we're also very focused. This is not a general startup event. It's not a general automotive event. It's an event for startups and corporations and investors focusing on the in-car experience, because we know and we've seen through our years of experience that this is what produces the best results and the best new business opportunities. And I'm very excited and proud of what we've accomplished bringing these people together. On the automotive OEM and tier one side, we have an unbelievable lineup of panelists in positions of senior innovation managers, business unit owners, and more, really focusing on the in-car experience. On the startup side, we're excited that we have 14 presenting startups from 10 different countries. Our startup methodology is very, very thorough. We spent 2 months scouting across Israel and Europe, looking for the most innovative startups using our proprietary database that we have developed over many years, new research, over 25 mobility partners, marketing efforts, and all this brought us nearly 100 inbound applications. We spent weeks reviewing these companies, speaking to these companies, and we selected these companies that we have presented here. Each of these startups were selected based on their technology, on their innovation, and the value that they are bringing to automotive corporations and partners. We also spent much time with all of them, getting to know the entrepreneurs, understanding the value that they are bringing, and working with them on their presentation. And I can say, I think we have some of the most innovative startups in the world for the in-car experience presenting for you here today. So how is the event going to go, and how can you make the most of it, whether you're a startup, an OEM, a tier one, a tech player, or anything else? Well, first of all, let me explain the session format. We have 3 sessions focusing on 3 of the core areas of innovation for the in-car experience. Each session is broken out into 2 parts. The first is going to be a short roundtable between the panelists, sharing their insights, their analysis, and how they work together with startups. After this first part, we're going to have the startup pitches. Each startup will come up and give a short pitch presentation, followed by a few minutes of Q&A from the panelists. Between the first and second session, we're also very excited to have Joe Barros, who is the CEO and founder of Vinayam, based in Portugal and New York, an advanced growth stage startup in the connectivity and digitization space. It's going to be very, very exciting to hear his presentation. We'll have a few minutes for Q&A after that as well. In between all of this, I highly encourage everyone, if you haven't already, create your profile, chat with other attendees, request one-on-one meetings, take advantage of this platform we have here. But first and foremost, keep your eyes and ears as much as you can on the main stage. We really have spent a lot of time and effort getting all these people here together, working with the startups as well as our panelists. You don't want to miss what they're going to talk about and what they're going to say in these sessions. And if that's not enough, we have 2 more goodies for you to even take home. The first is our event booklet, which has descriptions on the presenting startups, the agenda, our sponsors. You can find this event booklet in your Pine Tool app on the sidebar on the left and download it. Take it with you wherever you go. The second is the Access Innovation In-Car Experience Report. This report we created earlier this year based on months of research and analysis going through the entire in-car industry, providing valuable insights for OEMs, tier one, startups, tech players, service providers, everyone from the history of in-car, the evolution, the key opportunities, milestones, and much, much more. We have a link there for you to go to our website and download that report. And now it's enough from our side. It's time to get the show on the road. I'm super excited for this event and super excited to have all of you joining us here, taking time out of your days wherever you are. I hope that this event will lead to lots of new connections, new business opportunities, and growth. So without further ado, let's move on to our next session. I want to remind all of the speakers, if you are panelists on the first session or a startup, now's the time to head backstage and you're ready for your session. So I wish everyone the best of luck, and let's make it a fantastic event. I look forward to everything we have planned. So that ends our first session. Let's move on to the next one.